Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to have you here.
Oh my gosh, yay. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Do you want to get us kicked off, introduce everything?
Sure. This is the Master of General Knowledge podcast, and today's session we're going to talk about recreational vehicles.
Amazing. Okay, and that's RVs, right?
Yes, which is a broad,
Broad topic.
Broad topic. So we're not going to talk about like dirt bikes and four-wheelers and things. We're talking about the homes on wheels.
Okay, the homes on wheels. Okay, got it. And I don't know a lot about RVs. This is your podcast. I am just here taking over as host just to interview you because you know everything it seems to know about RVs, or you know most of the general knowledge. So.
Well, thanks. It is general knowledge. I don't know most of everything, but yes.
Well, that's the good thing. You're a master of general knowledge.
We like to think so. But thank you, Rebecca. She's one of our producers, and she's going to be the host, and I will be her guest today. So,
oh my
Rebecca,
gosh. Yay.
The show is yours.
Okay, I'll get it kicked off. So, let's just get started on, I've heard a little about your company, Composite Products. So, do you want to tell me a little more about that? What you do is manufacture parts for RVs, right?
Well, yes, I think that's why I'm in the business, or I do know a fair amount, but I don't want to get hung up on what the company does, Composite. Basically, it make maintenance products that have to do with the roof, the walls, and the floors of RVs, the coach part. But we'll get into detail a little later.
Okay, we're kind of evading the question. It's okay, that's fine. It is your show, but I am hosting, so next time you're not going to get off so easy.
I'll remember that.
Okay, so I am not well versed in RVs, like I was saying. So let's say I was going to buy one. What's the first thing I should consider?
That's a great question. And we'll just talk about, there's three different types of RVs. But the first thing you're going to consider, are you going to tow this RV or are you going to drive it?
I want one that will drive itself because I hate driving. Is that a thing? Can we find that?
That's a big tall order, but we'd have to go to Silicon Valley and kind of see where they are in that process. But I'm sure the technology is close. But right now, you're going to have to either have a vehicle to tow your recreational home, vehicle home, or you're going to have to buy one with a motor, called motorized coach.
Okay. Well, then I don't want to tow anything because I feel like that's a disaster waiting to happen for me. So I want one that I don't have to tow.
Then that narrows it down to the motorized style.
Okay.
And within the motorized family, there are really three different types, three different classes, as they call it.
Okay. What are the three classes? I haven't heard a lot about this.
All right. Pretty basic. Class A, Class B, and Class C.
Okay, so it's an alphabet. Is there a D, E?
Not that I'm aware of, but obviously the guy who came up with that, or the person who came up with that classification was
creative.
They weren't very creative. They were keeping it pretty simple. Let's call A, B, and C.
Okay, so if I'm choosing between A, B, and C, how do I know to choose one type over another?
Well, the easiest, we'll start with what we call the Class B or Class C. Those are like the motor coaches that you see that are like big white box vans. If they didn't have windows and doors, they'd be a U-Haul.
Okay, so the ones that are just they're pretty big in size.
They're big and square.
Big and square.
And they have that overhead bunk that goes over the cab.
Yes, okay, I know which ones you're talking about. So they're like the standard when you think of an RV look.
Right, they're the one, right. Driving down I-15 and there's the guy behind the wheel and the family all,
And that's what you see. Okay, that makes sense.
That's Class C. And that's where you get the most bang for your buck, the most real estate typically.
Okay, so then within Class C, are they, what was it? Oh.
Let's talk about the other.
Okay, let's talk about the other classes. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm getting off track.
There's a lot of questions.
There's so many things that I'm thinking about. Okay, so then those are like the ones that you typically see and you expect. What about the ones that look like buses?
The bus ones are Class A. And
okay.
Those are like motor coaches, and they go all the way from tour buses, like a giant one, to smaller ones. But the front end of those is manufactured by the RV company. Where the Class C's, when you see it driving at you down the road, it's a Ford or a Chevy van.
Yeah. And the Class A, are those typically more expensive because they're like a little nicer?
Typically, yes. You get all the way to a diesel bus pusher with a big diesel engine in the back.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, and then so we covered A and C. So then what about B?
B, camper vans.
Camper vans.
Yes.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. Okay, so then what about the major components? What in each of these?
So let's talk about how they're constructed.
Okay.
We have Class A, Class B, and Class C, and the commonality between those three classes is that the chassis is typically manufactured and produced by a major automotive manufacturer.
What is a chassis?
Good question. Chassis is basically the the frame, and attached to the frame are your suspension, and then the wheels, and the steering and the brakes. So that's
got it. That makes sense. I was like, I don't know what that word is.
and chassis goes across the many spectrums as far as a description of the framework and the basic operating platform of a vehicle.
Okay, got it. So it's like the frame of a body.
Frame, wheels, steering, how to steer it, stop it,
Okay.
and so forth. But not including what's called the drivetrain.
Okay, and what's the difference?
The drivetrain is the engine
Got
that
it.
powers it. And if it's electric, it could be a motor. So an engine is generally internal combustion, and a motor is electric. So
Okay,
when
that
people
makes sense.
interchange those words, and I don't know what the specific, it's just general knowledge. So you have a motor.
We're not here for specifics.
Okay. So we have the engine, we have a way to power this, we have a transmission that allows you to shift and go through different gears, and then there's the differential and live axle, which puts the engine's power to the ground.
Okay.
That's your drivetrain. So chassis, and on the chassis is the drivetrain.
Okay, so my car has all these parts.
That is correct.
But just in like a mini scale, where like an RV does it in a larger scale.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Perfect.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so if I think about it from that perspective, that makes it a lot easier.
Okay.
Okay, so we've covered A, B, and C, and now I kind of understand the differences between them. So I'm guessing, because they all kind of look different, but within each, there's different styles and preferences within that.
Yeah, so we take the pre-manufactured chassis by Ford or Chevy or any other of these large Mercedes, and then they have a drivetrain attached to it that comes to the RV manufacturer, and the RV manufacturer builds out the body.
Okay.
In the realm of Class C, they're basically building a square box and mount it to what's called a cutaway chassis, because the front part of the chassis already has a driver's seat in it, and that stays there. So the RV manufacturer makes the box, the big white box, and outfits it. With Class A, they build the whole coach, including where the driver sits, all the way to the front. And then Class B, the camper vans, they basically take a stripped out cargo van and,
And build it out.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so then you own 3 RVs, right?
I have owned 3.
Okay, so which ones have you owned?
Class C and Class Cs.
You've all of them Class Cs.
Except for the camper vans I have. I kind of manufacture. I built out some, there's a bunch of do-it-yourself or camper van type of things, and I've been kind of in that.
You've been in that area?
Yes.
Okay, so, and then have you ever thought about owning a Class A, or like what drew you to Class C specifically?
Well, so that's a good question. So let's say you're going in to talk to the RV salesperson.
Okay.
And by the way, used car salesmen have been resurrected as RV salesmen. So just be forewarned.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, any other jokes?
None that are any good. Wait, I have one.
Okay.
What do you call the captain of a sailboat?
I can't be a real joke. I have no clue.
Sales manager.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm kind of corny, sorry about that.
No, I love it. Okay, but let's get back on track. We were talking about Class C, the ones you've owned.
Yeah, you were going there, but you were asking also what would be some considerations if you were going to buy an RV. So
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's where we originally were. Okay. So if I'm gonna buy an RV, what am I considering?
first off, cost. What's your budget? Mm-hmm. And that's what the RV dealer is going to want to know immediately, like the used car, any car salesman. How much can I get out of this person? So sidestep that. Just focus.
Just be like, I want something good.
So first off, we mentioned I think you said you wanted a motorized. You didn't want to tow
Yes.
it. On that note, I don't know if I covered it, but did I cover the slide-in camper?
No, I don't think you did.
So there's kind of a hybrid situation here. And if you have a pickup truck, you can buy a RV unit that slides into the back of the bed.
Yes, I've seen those. When I was younger, I always wanted one. When I was younger, I was like, that's what I'm doing.
Yes, I mean, skiers love them, and just weekend campers.
That makes sense.
You have your pickup truck all week, and then you just back up, slide it in, and off you go. But we're going to look at ones that drive, because I think that's what kind of you're thinking.
Yeah, I think if I were to get an RV, I would want to stay more in the driving range.
So first off, budget and storage. Where are you going to put this thing? How much are you going to use it? What are you going to use it for? Do you think you're going to, how do you envision it? Do you envision like weekend trips down to southern Utah, or heading up to, British Columbia for a month?
Yeah. Yeah, so it really depends on that, and that helps me pick if I want A, B, or C.
It should, yes. And the same with how many people are going to be in the vehicle.
Okay. And then what about like interior, right? Like we've covered kind of the exterior, the body, but like for me, I want the inside to be pretty. I think that's really important.
So, yeah, you can get it as pretty as you'd like. So as many cup holders and leather seats and full air conditioning, television, yeah. As an example, a top of the line Class B camper van is $250,000.
Okay, so as much as my house.
Yes, it's a house on wheels. Face it with mortgage and the cost of house ownership and taxes and all that. Some people are living in their RVs.
Absolutely.
It makes sense.
I have a lot of friends who are doing van life. They're like, we're not doing that. We're doing van life. So it's kind of similar, but the RVs are a huge thing too.
It is. I live in my camper van sometimes when I'm off doing some of this other work. But it's all good. So yeah, I think when you go and look at the RV store and you go peruse through the selection, you'll figure out what fits you. But the Class C, typically, again, you get the biggest square footage. You have a bunch of kids, you got pets, and you're going to be traveling for week-long or 2-week-long trips. They work pretty good. They kind of rattle. They have maintenance issues. That's part of my business. Compost set is sealing and repairing water damage that occurs on those big boxes.
Yeah. When you drove a Class C cross country, didn't you?
Multiple times. Yes.
Okay. When do you feel like it was stable and lasted well? What was that?
Yeah, I have a couple stories. They're big and they're kind of slow. Coming across I-80 in Wyoming one time, with Class C, a big Class C with the overhead bunk. As I was going up on 80 by Livingston, it's known for its wind up there. And this dust devil, it was really windy, and this dust devil, one of those swirling things, came across the highway, across the median, hit me, and lifted the whole RV up and put me on the shoulder. And I, slapped all those little reflectors.
Oh my gosh!
It didn't roll. It was really hairy, but they don't handle it. They're huge, big boxes, and in wind, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's the story. So the Class A's, a lot of those are diesel pushers. So they have a big industrial, Caterpillar truck engine in them.
Okay.
And they'll power through things like that. The chassis is heavier.
Okay, so on interior, right? So we've talked about leather and cup holders, but then there's more elements, because if I'm living in an RV, I got to use the bathroom and I got to wash my hands.
That's true. I was going to take us down that path of the third component of these RVs. We have the chassis, the drivetrain, then we have the RV body, but within that are all these subsystems. You have to have electricity, both a 120-volt system, like your house, as well as a 12-volt system.
Oh, so an RV has the same volt system as a house?
Half of it does.
Half of it, okay.
For microwave and air conditioning and so forth.
Oh,
but your lights and other devices use 12-volt power like your car. So
okay, that's cool. So there's two systems within it.
There are.
For electricity.
And there's an electrical distribution network and a big device that switches between 12-volt and it also knows when you plug it in. So you can plug your RV into an RV camping area has what they call improved or sites that have you plug your RV in. So this device, electrical device, needs to know what's going on.
Oh, that's so cool.
As well as built-in generators.
Oh my gosh! How many built-in generators are there? Just
Typically one, but if you have one of those big buses, you could have a big generator as big as a car engine.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yes. So if the generator is as big as a car engine, the engine running it is big.
So the generators itself is an engine that powers electricity separate from the car. But yes, typically, the bigger, a lot of Class Bs don't have a generator or a small one. And so the size of the coach makes a difference. But back to the systems that are inside, we have the electrical, which we're talking about. You can see it's fairly complex, but there's all a water system. There's potable water, which means water you can drink or shower or bathe in. You have tanks for that. And then you have wastewater for your toilet and your sink and so forth. That's called gray and black. And you have to store that somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's a whole piping system.
Oh, wow.
A hot water heater.
It really is just a house on wheels.
It is. And there's a propane system. Just like you might have natural gas to your home. In RVs, propane. You have a propane tank.
So the same tanks that you would use for a grill?
Similar. A lot of times they're built into it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes.
So they're built a little differently, but it's that same general system.
Same general system, but automotive grade, met to some specifications that are, required.
Okay.
Now, camper van do-it-yourselfers, you're going to see the little 25-pound gas grill tank, strapped to their bumper.
Yeah.
That technically I don't think, is road legal, but van life's a little different.
Van life is a little different.
So the systems in these RVs are very complex, and that's what the RV manufacturer specializes in, is fabricating and installing these systems on the chassis and drivetrain that they're purchasing from another.
Okay, so that's like a lot of equipment. So, and that's all done at the RV factory when like it's installed, and then when you go and look at it, that's all pre-installed.
Pre-installed. Now, they don't build the refrigerator at the RV factory. They buy that from somebody.
Okay.
But they build the enclosure, and they connect the propane and the lines and the electricity.
Got it. So they have it all set up, and then you can just slide the refrigerator in.
Well, they do it, yes.
Yeah.
When you get there, it's already slid in. You can.
Oh, okay. Well, that's amazing. That makes it so much easier for me.
So yes, that's in a nutshell. We've kind of covered the whole.
Like outfitting the motorhome and all of that.
Yeah. So back to your original question: quality and comfort and furnishings. It goes from mild to wild.
Yeah.
It really depends on your budget and what your needs are.
Okay, so like if I want like a flat screen TV and a master bedroom, and that's totally something I can have. It's just more complex.
Pretty typical.
Okay.
Yeah, they queen size bed with a TV in the bedroom and a TV. Now I don't own a TV, so my RV doesn't have TVs, but apparently people are. There's these big coaches. They have like fold out televisions outside of the RV. So they pick up their awning, and they're at the NASCAR race, and they have the big 30-foot awning, and they have a TV that pops out of the side, and a grill and a table. And then,
so it's perfect for tailgating.
big time.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, amazing. And then so we talked about decorating the inside, the body, and then with buying an RV and owning an RV, if it's like a home, you kind of got to maintain it and make sure it's reliable, right? And you kind of mentioned that's where your company comes in, but
yes.
Is there anything, it's maintenance specialization?
So I think we'll cover that in another podcast session.
Okay.
Because it is very complex and very detailed. And they say, owning an RV is like owning a boat. It's a great place to, great hole in the ground to throw your money. A place in the water to bury, tens of thousands of dollars. But, the best day of owning your RV, you're going to find out for most people over the long haul is the first day you buy it is like the greatest day in your life. And then when you finally get rid of it, that's not a bad day either.
It's even better. You don't realize at the time.
So yeah, they're just a lot of maintenance, especially in the coach area where it's hand fabricated in these, RV, manufacturing locations.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like this has been so informative. Anything else?
I think you're good. I think just when you go into the RV dealership, you be wary of the sales guy. They want to know how much you want to spend, how much you have to spend. You really got to focus on what your needs are.
Yeah.
What your realistic budget is. You have to look at the cost of travel. A Sprinter van, diesel Sprinter van by Mercedes, much better gas mileage than a Prevost, diesel pusher bus that Aerosmith is, running the tour on.
And then, let's summarize some words of wisdom or some key factors that we really want to focus on when I'm considering to buy an RV. What are the key points?
Really, I think we just, kind of hit them. Budget,
okay,
size, how often and long you're going to be in the vehicle. I mean, if you're living in it for months at a time. Now I'm driving down I-15 to Salt Lake today to head to the LARCX studio here, which is a great studio. I'm really happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you. It's so nice. I'm glad that we get to film this here.
Super. So I'm driving down here and I'm passing all these, big Class A buses with Canadian license plates. They're all leaving British Columbia to go to Arizona for the winter. So you're living in that. That's a different class. You know? And then we got the guy with the, camper van with the kayak and the bicycles, and they need less. So
absolutely,
you got to find your sweet spot in there.
Okay, that makes sense. It sounds complicated and kind of sounds like my Subaru is getting more and more. I want that more with a tent at this point.
Well, car camping is a big thing too. There's a whole industry with that. Maybe that's another podcast session.
Yeah.
How to outfit your car. A buddy of mine, I helped him outfit a Suburban, which is unusual. It's not like a van, but it's all-wheel drive. And we kind of put some suspension mods and some bigger tires, and he's got inside what he needs, and he can take it to southern Utah and go out in the desert as well as winter.
That's so nice. Does he live in it full time, or is it more just a...
Nobody's gone for, weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And it's, super incognito. You're going to find in the van life people get chased out of places. But so you're in a Suburban, people don't know. You're just kind of hankering in there, so you can park about anywhere.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's so cool. Maybe I want to do that. Maybe that's my next solution.
Well, the car camping thing is a big deal. So yeah, stick with what you have now and then work your way up the ladder.
Yeah. It seems like you know a lot about cars too. Another thing that we could do a podcast on.
Yeah. I've had my hands on a lot of wrenches. So.
Oh my gosh, well, amazing. I think we're done. I think we're good. I think this is a good way to wrap up the first podcast, and then we can talk more in the next one.
That sounds great, Rebecca. I appreciate you having me on my show.
Yeah, I'm so thankful. I'm so happy I got a host.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. This is Master of General Knowledge podcast. Visit us at www.masterofgeneralknowledge.com. We'd like to hear your comments and your suggestions for the show.
Yes,
Thanks.
absolutely.